Hi, everybody. Welcome to Resolve the Unsolved Forum by Panisha EVS Consulting Group. In fact, based on our previous sessions which we had over the last couple of months, we have been getting very interesting inputs, suggestions from the entrepreneurial segment. Though after the second wave, a lot of our friends and entrepreneurs are not able to join live during the sessions. They have been going through the videos which we upload post the session, and the new topics which we come up with are based on suggestions and ideas or concerns which they have been sharing with us. Based on that, I was having a talk with my senior and extremely respected, I would say, associate Dr. C.S. Nair over here, who has consented to be the guest speaker today. Welcome, Dr. C.S. Nair.
Thank you, Sandeep.
And we were talking about the uncertainties. That is how we arrived to the topic,
right?
Which is managing uncertainties and specifically the people and productivity aspects. Because this has been time and again, even yesterday with one of the groups in Hyderabad, for whom we are implementing a project in Delhi, we were working on the productivity metrics, the people who are managing and running the products, which involves sales, even technical people, which is there. And obviously, uncertainty has added a lot of excitement, I would say, on the positive way to this. Let me formally welcome Dr. C.S. Nair to the forum. Welcome you over here. Dr. Nair has been associated with education and training industry for the last 30 plus years. He brings in with him unreached experience and knowledge of the industry across sectors. When I say across sectors, it is not only specific to one or two specific areas which he has been involved with. During his last 30 years, he has been associated with well-known corporates, to name a few, like Hero Mind, and Sparta, with bodies which has been ramping up skill training, through skill training, I would say, the capabilities across the country, that is NSDC, which has diverse programs, and in the implementation and ensuring their implementations are properly done, designed. Dr. Nair has been integrally involved in that as an expert and specialist. He has steered and implemented certain crucial projects across the country, specifically in the last decade, if I'm right, Dr. Nair.
Yeah.
And currently, he is also officiating in the capacity of Dean Skills and Capacity Building the Civil Industry School. So today, it will be a good opportunity for me to discuss with Dr. C.S. Nair on a very critical issue that is about productivity. And that too, in the situation and scenario which we are experiencing, are acknowledging for the first time, I would say, openly, that is uncertainty. Now, uncertainty forms a significant part of any business, which all entrepreneurs know. And every business owner knows that without risk, they cannot move forward. That is understood. But what happened in the last 18 months or so, and what we are experiencing, has added too much of unexpected excitement, if I'm right to use the word. And thus, the existence of uncertainty forms a core part of our speculation and investments. It is very difficult for seasoned business planners to, and people with experiences to, also plan out certain things. And we all know technology is also playing its own role in terms of changing business models which are there. Now, focusing on the concept of uncertainty, which requires that decision be made, and to be made with certain partial information or incomplete informations which might be there, which I say adds to the complexity of making decisions. Now, to stay with uncertainty, I would invite Dr. Nair to present his views on why do we need to be very particular about uncertainty in business. Why is it significant? Dr. Nair,
yeah,
I'd like you to share why it is very critical for us to be focused on the uncertainty part of it. Why is it so critical to any business?
Right.
Please.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you so much for inviting me and giving. I am also equally thanking you for giving me an opportunity, because it is a very close to my mind that I would like to address this forum of entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs, and the people who are there in the business of the incubation centers, who have been starting their business, or maybe they have started their business pre-corona and they have got an immediate uncertainty of a pandemic period, etc. But when we are talking about the significance of uncertainty, I would say to manage uncertainty, the easiest way is to have control on the things that we are certain to us, first of all.
Right.
So we are uncertain about things that anyway we are uncertain. But are we in control of the things which are certain to us? So that is the part which we have missed out in the past, as well as in the beginning and during the corona period, or maybe the pandemic period. And that may have its own effect and a replica of the certain things that will be for the future also.
True.
Maybe we will say that, okay, we have been able to see certain things retrospect in a different fashion, as well as looking into the perspectives of the business and the customers in a different manner.
Right.
Because there was an uncertainty point blank in front of all of us, and everybody was accepting those steps that we were forced into the phases of uncertainty. But even at that point in time, I don't think that all of us were not in control of what are in those things on which we have control about. So the easiest way of managing uncertainty is to have a very big control on those resources, on those elements where you as individual, as team, as society have control on. This is the biggest thing that was being missed out in the element. So I would submit to saying that, okay, that is the first point of things to be noted here. Now, when we talk about control, whether it is a control on the business, whether it is control on our career, or whether it is control on our life per se, okay, maybe the families and society one can think of. So the control comes with three things. One is to do with the elements of those measures that is required for controlling any action, any decision. Second one is the people who are involved into it.
Very much.
And the third one is that the execution part of it, and how are we going to manage those shows? Because anything which is not managed properly leads to uncertainty. So how would you manage the control? And when it is coming to a control, we need to ensure a little quality, and there should be a little things to do with measuring those qualities. And therefore, we need to set certain standards. We need to set certain timelines. When it is coming to business, we need to think about the people. And I would say yesterday also and day before also, we were discussing the Panchabhuta of business.
Yes.
To me, the Panchabhuta, the 5 elements of the business is men, machine, material, land, and building.
Right.
Okay, the men, the machine, the material, like we used to learn and discover as well as practice in our business management principles also. When we were,
if I may interrupt over here, Dr. Nair.
Right.
If I hear you right, what you're saying, uncertainty does not mean stop.
No.
Am I right?
No way.
Uncertainty means move in a measured way, is what you're trying to say.
Yes.
So that means I should not stop moving and wait for better times.
Right.
But I should find a measured way to move across this uncertainty times.
I will tell you one small example, Satdeep, on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
Even if you ask me, is that can we talk at 2:30? I think so, but I'm not certain. That is also the smallest element of uncertainty, but it does not mean that we are not mindful about having a discussion time to be set. Tentatively, our mind is working. The action needs to be on a move, on a fashion that it keeps moving. That's what I'm saying. So
wonderful.
Uncertainty does not mean that it is pushing us to a point of panic.
Okay.
It is not pushing us into a point of being stalled at some place.
Right.
Not taking a decision is also sometimes a good decision, but that does not mean that we should stop.
Absolutely right.
So it has to be a stop gap kind of a thing. There are certain things which we have got control, but there are certain things we are not certain about, but we will still be having caution about it. So when you have the control on it through certain measurements, you will have the benchmarking standard as well as the buffer for because what is required in your control is been already measured and controlled. So you
Yes.
automatically get the confidence of facing uncertainty. Even if at an unlikely event of something goes wrong, which you can term as the uncertain part of it, you can say. It could be even in this conference right now after 2 minutes, it may go for a technical glitch.
Yes.
I'm prepared for it.
Yes.
So, but I am not worried.
True. No, I think he brought in a very, very appropriate perspective at the very beginning. And this is what happened. And I'm sure, Dr. Nair, you must have also experienced. Businesses, teams, and entrepreneurs, if we have to take the last 18, 19 months, uncertain times, companies, people, and teams which have been planning, been alive, been trying to act, today have started slowly reaping the benefits faster and are more agile.
Right.
And you can see they are capturing market and businesses also, because life keeps on moving, as you said. So uncertainty is over there consistently.
Right. So
Yes.
now coming to the people part of it and the productivity part of it, like
Very
we were
much.
talking about it, because our topic of the discussion, and I thank you so much for thinking it through in such a precise manner, that how the topic should be named, as well as what is the session flow that we should be coding and decoding it into. So when we are talking about this people and productivity part of it, like I mentioned you earlier, when it is coming to the elements of any of the businesses, this men, machine, material, land, and building,
Yeah.
what matters most is the men part of it.
Okay.
Everything
True.
will fall in place. And that is why I thought that there is a need for naming the people, the word people, and the productivity aspects of it, because productivity is directly linked to profitability. Productivity is directly linked to cost.
Yes.
Productivity is also directly linked to results.
Mhm.
A collective effort of this, the expected result, a collective effort of this can be named as a quality business proposition.
Okay.
So to that extent, we can add quality, but keeping only quality in place, documentation in place, and resources in place other than the men and their productivity, no business is going to become sustainable. And therefore, the men part of that 5 elements of business becomes more important.
True.
And that is the part which faced the biggest uncertainty problem in the pandemic. And that is going to be there for few more, I mean, if not years, it is just for a few more months. I am expecting personally, when we say COVID-19, the naming of the baby of COVID is given 19, but we are already going to be in COVID-22 now.
Yes.
Down the line, 2 to 3 months. So COVID-19 started off at the end of 19, then 20, then 21, and we are prepared enough now for 22 to
22.
face the same anyway. So we will remain with certain problems, with certain challenges. I would also say that in future businesses, we should avoid, or we should eliminate saying anything as a problem. It can only be named as a challenge.
Yes.
And why we are saying is that a problem may or may not have a solution, but a challenge will always warrant for a solution. And there will be people involved in it when you look for a solution, and when you are facing a challenge, there will be support. But if you project any of your situations or circumstances as a problem, you may not get the support of the people. And you know, right. So when we expect support, and if we work together, there is a collaboration that happens that increases the productivity, and that also increases the profitability.
I'm getting tempted at this stage, Dr. Nair, to ask a very pertinent question which keeps on coming up with business people in the last 3-4 months. I'm putting it in front of you. In general, what we have seen, the MSMEs and typically the young entrepreneurs whom we deal with, in particular, okay, how well or how can they work towards mitigating these uncertainties?
Right. One is that we need to little relax and think through. First of all, there is absolutely no tentative or a one-word answer to what will work best for improving my bottom line 5% up. There is no one-line answer, but there are certain things which we can think through. Say, for example, especially when it comes to MSME, MSME provides a lots of solution to the livelihood mission management of the youth, as well as lots of small-time entrepreneurs, as well as the incubators of who is wanting to get into businesses with small investments.
Right.
Good ideas, good innovative ideas, and that also needs to have its own the competencies and skills, a skilled manpower as well as the people to improve productivity and get the business started with least supervision and minimized amount of training to the manpower.
Okay.
There is where it comes to the question of what are the competencies required for the manpower? What is the skill set that we should be looking for in future? Especially for a place like an MSME, whether it is a very small business kind of a unit where you will be finding children who are getting employed through maybe an apprentice program. One can think of getting the people through an apprentice program. One can always get into the sector skills councils and their program of schemes of apprentice. They can go for young youth who are looking for very innovative jobs.
Right.
Even these days, even the white collar jobs, you can get the children from the NCR cities like NCR or maybe the in and around NCR. You can find children bright enough who are just passed out of the graduation and who are very much brilliant enough to give you an innovative and very creative companies like edtech companies can have those back-end and front-end workers, the marketing executives, the people who wanted to do the people who are doing the hardware and software solutions business. Okay,
Right.
they can find lots of young graduate and lots of children who are passed out from 12th standard who can be well placed for working remotely as well as offline, who can be very well, because our children these days, if you ask me, we are putting in our school, we are doing a backward and forward integration in our schools. What we are doing in a forward integration is that we are creating the higher education as well as the industry ready for our children to land into.
Right.
The children who wanted to get into the higher education, we are getting a forward integration model with the universities and higher education. But our groundwork, the housework that we are doing, the homework, is that keeping the children capable of having that right skill set and competencies actually.
Absolutely.
If I have to give it, substantiate this with the smallest example, what is skill and what is competency? What is the difference now when we talk about this? This is all part of getting ourselves prepared for future. How can we manage this uncertainty going forward, especially in case of small business? So I would like to give a small example over here. Suppose if I need a driver, I know driving, which means I'm a skilled person. That's my skill. Driving is my skill. I know that. But if I know also fuel efficiency based driving, child safety based driving, road safety based driving, as well as my ability to face the challenge at an unlikely event of a road rage on my
Yes.
those are called competencies. Otherwise, I am skillful enough. I have been skilled for driving as a driver. I have been licensed, certified, qualified, experienced. Certification, qualification, experience will work less anymore, and it will all be dominated by the life skills and competencies of a person. So this is one answer, a tentative answer for the MSMEs to find the right skill, the people with right skill sets. And when you think about your own skill set, when you define, when you are looking for people, because I'm just concentrating and restricting the scope of our discussion to the people and the productivity aspect of it.
Right.
That is what we were worried about actually. Everything else will fall in place. If you need infrastructure, it will come. If you need funding, it will come. If you need materials, it will come. But the main part is what I am most bothered, which is the human aspect of it. And the skill set and the competencies required in those in that human capital and the resource, which is the worrisome of everybody and anybody. You would have heard about examples of people, the MSMEs having shutting down because they do not have the right amount of money to pay their full salary.
Yes.
Maybe somebody has given half salaries. Why? Because there was a problem of cost optimization of having the employees with not the right amount of skills required to manage multitasking at a time of uncertainty.
This
Because
is
we never
a
thought of
very important point which you brought across, multitasking capabilities.
right.
This is an important point. Please.
Yeah, multitasking capabilities, when I talk about it, is that I will tell you, maybe MSME, some of the people must be aware about it. There is something called mechanical, electrical, and plumbing kind of a course which a person can come and do and graduate with. These graduates can be used for taking care of the entire spectrum of a middle management or a junior management kind of a job profile, in line with an architect who is in a construction business. So far, or maybe some of the people are looking for a mechanical engineering for doing the engineering part of it, a plumbing part of it, they find a local plumber, maybe an electrical, they will go and hire certain material from outside, but they will hire a person on maybe at a contract basis. They will give the electrical work contracted out. But
Okay.
the uncertainty in that is that you may need 2 days of time after the ceiling is done, the RCC is done. There will be occasions where you need all these 3 people together with the architect. That is uncertainty part of it, which cannot be managed or mitigated. By the time the people with not having the right skill set will have difference of opinion, and your productivity is gone, your profitability is gone, your timelines is gone, and ultimately it is resulting the quality and the goodwill of the organization. So what is required here is, as an entrepreneur, I need to sit back and think through for forecasting than planning now. So one word which is changed in the conventional to the futuristic is that we have to remove planning and you have to get into forecasting.
Very important, very important.
Which again is the basics of the principles of management, I would like to say.
So what you're emphasizing on, a skilled, appropriately skilled resource or manpower identified and if available with an MSME or any operations is also a critical criteria which can help overcome uncertainties in a better way.
Right, Sandeep. Here, I would like to point out one more point. When it is coming to this, okay, let us move a little forward from the people part of it and their productivity part of it. Now I am coming to the cost optimization and the quality part of it, of any business, because that is another important element of how will you optimize your cost. Like I told you, for managing uncertainty, the easiest way to think about having a control on what is certain about. Same is the case with cost optimization also.
Right.
For managing optimization of cost, the least thing that you can do is to avoid the price of non-compliance.
Very important.
Because you must be aware about this term, the price of non-compliance, but for the audience, I would like to explain this with an example, is that the price of non-compliance is nothing but the price that you can quantify and qualify for this for a thing that you have failed to do. The cost that you are adding to it. Maybe you and me are aware about it, but for the audience, it's very important. Suppose if I wanted to catch a bus at 5:50 and my timing for catching the bus from home is an auto, a sharing auto of 30 rupees. But I failed to get up on time and I end up paying 150 rupees from my home till the bus stop directly in an auto, not a sharing auto. It's a special auto I have taken to a metro station or a bus station, which cost me 150 rupees because I failed to get up 10 minutes early or I got out 10 minutes late from my home. So the difference between 150 rupees and the 20 rupees sharing auto, otherwise I would have paid because of 10 minutes of delay, which is 130 rupees, is the price that I paid for non-compliance to my time management.
That's a wonderful example. That's a very, very wonderful example.
So this is adding to my optimization. So I need to be forecasting all these things than planning on the spot.
Very true. If I may, Dr. Nair, give me a second. I just wanted to bring in Mr. Raha, Prasenjit, if you are there, I can see him on the screen. Why I wanted to... Prasenjit,
can you hear? Yeah, I can hear you.
The reason, Dr. Nair, I am bringing in Prasenjit is there from Kolkata. And in fact, I can recall, I was having a session along with Prasenjit. He comes from a logistic background.
Wonderful. I have one more friend of mine who is well established and expert specialist and domain man from the supply chain and the logistics management, a very senior guy who is sitting next to Prasenjit. You can see his name, Chandrasekhar.
Chandrasekhar.
Welcome.
Welcome. Why I'm trying to bring both of you in over here is, as Dr. Nair positioned this efficiency part of human requirement, a couple of weeks back, I was having a discussion like this along with Prasenjit Raha, and we were talking on logistics. And Prasenjit, if I can recall, we were talking about competency, if I'm right. And you were saying it is no more just a labor, what Dr. Nair is focusing again over here. And it did share with us the importance of knowledgeable manpower like barcoding and other things, which has been brought in. And you did share an example. The purpose, I would request Prasenjit and Mr. Chandrasekharan to also join in, is you can enrich the discussion and we can get into a discussion mode also. Anything which you want to add at this stage while me and Dr. Nair are discussing?
Or
please.
Any clarification that you would like to get into?
Yes.
Or suggestions, most welcome.
Yeah. Any comments, please?
Yeah, I've been listening to Mr. Nair, and it's been enriching. We will. I would prefer to still hearing to Mr. Nair. I'll add in my inputs at the end. I would request Mr. Chandrasekharan to put in his inputs.
Right. Any inputs?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So first of all, thanks for giving me an opportunity to
You're most welcome.
be part of this session. And Dr. Nair, I've been listening to him very, very carefully and eagerly. Views are, I must say, perfect as far as MSME is concerned, in specific, but in general for any business. And like any businessman would agree to the fact that people, the human power, that comes
Right.
most important in any kind of setup. It's not only business, even in our life also, because that is very critical part. Fine. So thanks, Dr. Nair, for such valuable inputs.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you all can add up as you want as we go across, because what happens is we have a very open discussions at this as we go across, and people can add values and suggestions and interact as they feel like. Okay, that's very important. Staying on course with this, Dr. Nair, like when you brought in this, okay, very specifically, I'm again coming back to certain things which you have already spoken, just to point those relevant parameters out. What can be relevant people productivity aspects? If I have to just be brief, okay?
Okay.
If you can share
so
your
as I
thoughts.
told you, is that the productivity aspects comes to when I am a contributor to a business. Okay.
Right.
What am I bothered is about my key responsible areas, which we call KRA, or
Okay.
the job description or the job responsibilities of a person. Now, my proficiency and efficiency towards performing that job in a manner that I am not making any non-complaints of my performance. You know what happens is that I was talking to you about the non-compliance part of it.
Yes.
About my action. That is just behavioral and an attitude. Me as a person getting delayed or getting up late is something which is contributing to non-compliance. Same way at workplace also, I can have a non-compliance of not having my right attitude as well as my right wisdom to apply when it comes to applied work culture.
Okay.
I know physics and science, but I will have to now do it when at my workplace. So which is called applied mathematics, applied physics, applied chemistry, or applied science, or biochemistry, you can say, which is to do with your this one, the biotechnology, you say technology and biology, you can say that. Okay. So am I doing this at the right place, in my workplace at the right time? So this is to do with the straight away to do with the components of productivity.
Fine. So with this, let me come to the next immediate question, I would say. So which are those categories of skill that an entrepreneur should inculcate or a person should inculcate in managing people and productivity?
Okay, fine. So now for a businessman, the skills, the right skill set is something to do with, see, what we are doing here when I told you is that we are preparing the children for tomorrow, is that it is not my son or my student is sitting in class 11 today. My focus is that, okay, after 6 years, he will be with you in MSME working as a junior manager or junior executive over there. So what is the skill set to your answer question, what you said, is that the right thing is to inculcate in a person is the universal human values.
Okay.
The learning and academic skills that he is qualified and certified for, and the attributes for a leader, the leadership attributes. Say, for example, even if a knowledgeable person doesn't know how to take initiative, there is a problem with the leadership, that the child is going to be in the making of a leader. Now, I may be a wonderful person, but I may not be knowing how to lead a team working in collaboration with my people. There may be, especially in the case of all the small businesses, it will be all very small 4-member, 5-member, 3 members team. Maybe everybody is not having the wherewithals and the knowledge and the skills to do everything. But people are competent. These days, the children are competent, the youth are competent, and even the women workers and the working women are very competent. And they are competent enough to practice, okay, how can I manage things in a manner that my business is not suffering? Maybe they will be multitasking. Maybe they will be forecasting. So these are all contributing towards leadership attributes of a person. So what we are doing here is that when we say that for a business, tomorrow, if you want to become a professional, you need to have supervisory skills and you need to have leadership skills, say, for example, along with the time management and communication, whatnot, whatever is there. But what we are concentrating, personally, I feel that when I say about the skills and competencies required for a leader, what I teach my child and enriching my faculty also to teach the child is that what is not leadership.
Right.
So if I eliminate all those things which is confronting my leadership, the rest is anyway leadership. Same is the case in terms of decision making. So I'm inculcating the skill in my child or in my youth or adolescent person to identify those elements which are leading to poor decision making. If I eliminate that, it's a very special skill. Decision making, you know, I know. Leadership skill, you know, I know. Time management, you know, everybody knows in the world.
Yes.
What we do not know is that what is not to be done.
Yeah, that's a very important point. What's not to be done.
So what happens is that predominantly in a country like India, if you say what will happen if you wear the mask, will be less believed than if you say what will happen if you don't wear the mask. So the art of avoiding is something that can be practiced in terms of promoting a skill set and a competency in a person. So those kind of skills, which is part of life skills only, these kind of skills, say for example, taking initiative, okay, managing uncertainty, facing challenges, thinking about a global perspective, doing a research-based and applied management-based decision making. These are those skill set that I would specifically suggest for all the youngsters and even the young entrepreneurs who have small or big team to manage or small or big business to manage.
So that's absolutely true what you said. So one, till now, what we have been discussing is very, very clear that we have to be agile during uncertain times, no doubt about it. And we have to go measured in a measured manner, keep on moving forward. Coming to a very, very critical aspect is I need to have knowledgeable and skilled manpower. That's important.
Yes.
And second, in my operation, do I need to have skilled manpower who can also do multitasking or who can appreciate multitasking opportunities which may exist?
Right. One has to be a believer, first of all.
Believer also into it.
That's very important.
And to align with that, when we came on to what are the relevant aspects to measure on, that means I should be competent enough to note down or identify the key responsibility areas, the KRAs, on which it has to be focused. That means I have to be a knowledgeable supervisor also.
Yes, you need to have a mastery. In my case, we would say for a school, the academic mastery and the professional development, the self-enrichment, as well as the administrative command, because a teacher in the making, a teacher today is a principal in the making, or a head of the department in the making, a faculty in the making, a senior educator in the making. So we focus on academic mastery. In our case, we focus on professional development, which is common for all. And we also focus on the administrative command in a person, which is to do with leadership attributes and other things to do with, and fundamentally, we do technology integration and universal human values, which is common for all across the industry, across human beings, across products and services, anything. Technology needs to be taken care as an enabler, which again is an element, a major element in optimizing cost, especially during Corona, because we simplify things, we avoid errors. Technology can help us do all these things.
Very true. Prasenjit, you have raised a query. You want to ask something?
No. What Dr. Nair has said, I want to add my 2 cents to that. What I feel, see, in an organization for a supervisory post or for a leadership position, you may have a candidate who's developed internally, or you may have an external hire. For strategic positions, normally it's an external hire. Now, what I have seen in my consulting spree, these external hires comes with their knowledge, skill set, whatever may be, but they also come with their baggage of knowledge. Why I mention this baggage of knowledge is often, I think it's a retrograde thing. I mean, once you enter an organization, you have to have that skill set to adapt to that organizational ambience. Now, taking an external hire, he takes from a baggage of this thing that I am aware of everything, which is actually detrimental to learning or getting adapted to that particular organization. So getting in a leadership position, I think it's absolutely imperative you have the skill set to unlearn first, then only learn. For a leadership position or a leader, you must have the capability to unlearn and then learn and then get adapted to the organizational environment and organizational visualization.
Right. Got your point. So what you are saying is sometimes an external consultant may come with a preconceived notion and an idea.
Not consultant, I am talking about an employee only. I mean, employee deputed at a strategic leadership position.
Okay.
He or she comes with a baggage of knowledge which was applicable to an organization where he or she worked with. Now, that set of values may not be applicable to the organization he or she is joining.
Right.
So they have to unlearn and then learn and get adapted to the organization where he or she is serving.
Absolutely. I think, Dr. Nair, that is agreed.
Yes. I agree. You know, what happens is that this point of contact, this point of discussion, this indication that Prasenjit is giving, in any organization, this will majorly help in diversifying one's own business. What happens? A person like Sandeep has got knowledge about the industry, knowledge about sales and marketing, knowledge about training, knowledge about process management, knowledge about HR management, knowledge about consultancy. What happens is that I am running a business. Sandeep is my consultant. What happens is that if I want to diversify my business, I need not hunt for a separate manpower or a specialist, because Sandeep has got that baggage, like Prasenjit was saying, which he acquired in the past organization and practices also. So he has got hands-on practice, the knowledge. Yes, he is keeping that as a repository. To that extent, the discounting of the previous knowledge is not well appreciated, but yes, its importance as well as its usage in my current business diversification helps me a lot with the same human capital. That is why we say, Sandeep,
right.
That also I will say is that in the you know very well is that in the skill spectrum, we give lots of weightage to the recognition of prior learning.
Right.
That goes to experience and knowledge also.
True.
So an RPL will go to an RPE and RPL also. Isn't it? Prior learning experience and prior learning knowledge comes to the prior learning experience.
So it's important what you shared.
So this will help in business diversification is what I would like to summarize.
Yes. The only thing is, at any point of time, what is required is applied, and the additional knowledge and skills
that becomes a repository of knowledge. Yeah,
could be utilized in an appropriate point of time.
Right.
Which is there.
That is what we are inculcating these things in our children now in my school.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And in addition to Dr. Nair here said, Sandeep, I again emphasize on what I have been emphasizing during my sessions also. A leadership position will always, call for conflict. So anyone handling leadership position should be adept in handling conflict.
Right, Prasenjit, what will happen in my case, the universal human value system that we are inculcating in the youth will take care of diplomacy in managing conflicts over there.
True, sir.
It never used to be part of the curriculum of teaching and learning in the past. The moment we teach the universal human values, 4 of us are sitting here, we know what is the value system on which we are discussing this topic on. There is no scope for conflict. Even if there is a conflict, we will agree to disagree, not a problem. So those things are also being taught. And this is what is precisely to be done with the manpower that we have. That is why all these things are leading us to mitigating, managing uncertainties. Otherwise, we will be spending lots of time on this, leaving behind the cost to be optimized, the product to be serviced, the services to be delivered. So people have been spending lots of time this way in the past, but this pandemic taught us a lot. Now there are lots of believers. Now going forward, people will believe in what we say today because they have undergone this.
It's very important, and I'll share a very interesting discovery which we made in the last 5 to 6 weeks. While I'm talking to you, Dr. Nair, while we had a couple of sessions with various experts in different segments, as we discuss and deliberate, we may have less participants who are visible to us. What I was sharing with you, entrepreneurs gave us a feedback that yes, we are not available to you on a Saturday, but when you go and see on LinkedIn, we visit your edited versions which are there. We go through the number of times, and we try to introspect and come back. Otherwise, in the session, we were having a debate. So we were surprised. Is it that they are learning? Hence, we are using the word learning if you see. So what you shared, so 4 of us or 5 of us, we may not have we will have a comfort to agree, disagree, and take it forward. Today, the MSME, the entrepreneurial segment is very, very open to take new learnings, think big. Organizations which are not introspecting and planning to unlearn and at the same time learn new things are not moving forward.
Basically, you are saying what Prasenji said is that people are ready to adapt now.
Yes, they're ready. And see, initially we were discomfortable. What is this? A session means we will have 50 people over there and we're talking. It's to be there. Then what made us keep on running this is, they said, you don't bother whether we come or not. We are entrepreneurs. We go through your logistics session, we go through your manpower session, we go through this and pick it out, and where we need, we contact. Understanding it. So coming to the point which you mentioned about it, these have been deliberated at the level. Like last week, skilling, why we chose this topic and what tempted me, Dr. Nayak, to get in touch with you was knowing that you are from the skills, you are still focused onto it, whereas we have moved into different areas. Productivity was one thing which you spoke and we decided to go with it. Okay? I'm telling you, you will have so many visitors and so many queries in the next 15 to 20 days. I will be getting back to you because productivity is the question. I have a person, he or she does not perform. How do I measure? Again, the question comes, is a person skilled? Not skilled. Can he or she be skilled? Yes, can be skilled. Where? Is there a time? Who will measure? Is my manager competent to measure that?
Right, that's the main problem. That's the main point. Is my manager competent to measure that? Is the complete crux of the matter in terms of supporting the team, which creates either one side a confidence in a person or a fear in a person.
And this is what exactly I was trying to come to and raise the question to you before we end it up. How to manage people's productivity? How do you manage?
Of course, it's very easy to have a system in place to have a we call it as professional development and the career aspiration of a person, because we want, we believe in one term which I learned from somewhere, hire to retire. So you need on the job hand holding on a daily basis. I measure productivity on a CTC per minute basis, and a man hourly basis. We have already spent 5 man hours now. There are 5 people sitting here, and we spent around 58 minutes of it. So that is multiplied by 5, 58 multiplied by 5 is the man minutes that you have spent. Now I know the quantum of collective wisdom that we have delivered to the public. Maybe some 600 people will view this. That is how it multiplies. So therefore, measuring productivity is very easy when you have the mechanism of a structured format in place with the proper rubrics in mind. Because in academic standard and academic terminology, I would say rubrics.
Yes.
Where we are saying that, okay, you are at one level today with the existing system and processes and knowledge and resources and availability of your support systems with the common goal of the organization. Where are you today? That measuring is done by the person himself. And there is a fearless, there is a non-threatening atmosphere for the person to come out to approach to his supervisor. So we have a transparent system of a person who can approach any level of supervisory people who are there in the hierarchy. They take on the job help and they get on the job support, and we push them for doing a research based lots of learning as well as knowing by themselves what next they can build on to the existing level of their growth actually. So productivity is an outcome of that. That's why I'm not touching too much on the quality.
No, fine.
The quality will fall in place. Automatically, you will find the quality thing happening, a timely thing happening, a proper, matured, wholesome product being delivered, a services being attempted to or serviced upon. So these are all small things, very lighter part of it, and very light things, very real life thing, which is not known to our adolescents or maybe our youth also, even the people who are passing out from the college, because these are subjects and topics and the competencies not being taught as part of the lessons or the curriculum that has been defined in the past.
I think it is quite exciting, Dr. Nair, like what we covered, starting from uncertainty is a part and parcel of any business in our life. People, capabilities, and things needs to be understood. People have to have multitasking capacity in the current environments as we are growing up. Technology enablement, as you mentioned, is an integral part of it now. Right supervisory capability and the right matrices, as you put it, to measure productivity is important. It could be measured, everything very, very easily. And automatically, if it is done, you confidently said, we know and we understand quality will be delivered. And what I am trying to understand is, just off the hat, I'm asking you, I think post this, let's plan a detailed program out, and maybe we would like to invite specific industrialists who have been raising this question. And I think we have a professional session for them for half a day or something. Maybe we'll work it out. I think that leads directly into that opportunity which we should be, I think, discussing.
And knowing you, I know you are a master on it. You will do it.
All the best. Great.
And TP is there. Chandrasekhar is there because I call him TP. It's a name which is given by us. For all of us, we got a small short name. So TP is a very extraordinarily kind of a domain specialization knowledge about the supply chain as well as the logistics.
Right. Right.
And he has also managed large teams in his past organizations, all to do with various multiple industries. We have all been young professionals who handled hardcore sales and marketing and operations, but we got into the education and training business. We were doing the distributorship, supply chain management, the training center management, the people, the people, processes, programs, and you can say the products. All these things we were doing, managing this because currently, thanks to technology, we can do remote control, etc. Go and on those days, we had multiple regions, multiple zones, multiple people sitting with multiple talents at various places. Some of them in India, some of them in outside. We had all these challenges faced, and I think the crux of this discussion and the summary, it looks like there is nothing called uncertainty anymore. We are prepared for it.
No, absolutely. Uncertainty is a daily perspective. Sometimes it's bigger, sometimes it is.
Right.
You keep on rolling.
Right.
Sometimes you get locked inside your roof, you can't move. That is what we experienced in our life, maybe for the first time. That's why we are.
Actually, if I have to put it, Mr. Chandrasekharan's joining today was uncertain. I thank him for that also. I knew that you are there, and Mr. Davinder Goyal is there, and Prasanjad also will be there.
Mr. Goyal could not come in because he had a last-minute commitment.
His coming in was uncertain, but there is nothing called uncertainty anymore because you can see new things happening rather than finding problems and uncertainty anymore. In future is what the good hope that I have, and I'm prepared for it. Let's all be ready for it to face the challenges. Yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Please. Unmute yourself.
You're on mute. TP, you are on mute. Sure. Yeah.
I hope I'm audible now.
Yeah, yes, you're audible.
Just wanted to add on to what Dr. Nair has talked about this uncertainty part in my being here today. So Dr. Nair himself has given us the solution also. When there is an uncertainty is actually there everywhere. So when there is an uncertainty, focus on the part that you can influence. What is in your control? So I thought that what is in my control, and even if I have to exercise some options that I have in my control, I need to get motivated towards that. What is the motivation towards that? My best motivation is that being part of this and getting known to each other over here, and get the inputs that I've got from Dr. Nair today, something like that. So as long as there is a motivation for you to address the challenges, I'm sure any uncertainty you will see an opportunity also.
So true.
That is more important. As we all agreed that human part is very critical in any business or even in life also. How do you keep that human part motivated towards giving the best out of him? So that is more important.
Leading to productivity. Yeah. Leading to productivity then.
Yeah, correct. So we have also talked about the environment, and then we have also talked about the experience, learning and unlearning. All these are actually part of the human power management.
Right.
I'm sure all of us are in the same page. And for me, yes, we have all gained huge experience from the industry over the period of time. And I think you guys are doing a very good job that you are at least trying to give it back to the society, something that whichever way you do that. And I am also happy to be with you guys in whichever way that I can give.
Sure, we would love to. We would love to.
So any such attempt is always welcome, and please involve me also wherever you think that I can be of any help.
Sure.
Yeah.
thank you so much. I'll take your number from Dr. Nair and we'll coordinate and get in touch with you because we address a wide segment of the MSME segment, especially from North Delhi NCR. So it'll be a great opportunity. I'll coordinate. Prasenjit?
Sandeep, thanks for providing me an opportunity to take part in the session. And knowing Dr. Nair, Mr. Shekharan, it has been a real privilege for me. And thanks all for this this wonderful session. Thanks, Sandeep, once again. Thanks to you and thanks to Mr. Goyal also.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody. In fact, in the last couple of sessions, around 48 of them, we connected across the country, internationally also, especially in the Middle East and to Africa. We are shortly going to have a cross-continent session also, including trade practices, which may span across 3 hours. We are planning for that. I'll have you all invited. Thanks, Dr. Nair, for taking your time out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, TP. Thank you, Prasenjit, and thank you, Mr. Goyal.
Thank you once again, everybody.
Then we will call it a day. Then I will.
Sure.
The next session.
Thanks, everybody.
See you. Bye bye.
We'll connect.
Bye bye.
Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.